how do we balance these three settings and create the image that we want? We need to understand and familiarize ourselves to the use and benefits of the three most important camera settings, starting with aperture. Aperture is the opening inside the lens that allows light to enter the camera. In human anatomy analogy, aperture is like the pupil in a human eye. It's the hole in the lens that permits light to enter through to reach the camera's sensor. The aperture can be opened up wide to let in more light into the camera, giving you a brighter exposure, or made to be smaller to create a darker exposure. The size of the aperture is measured with f-numbers or f-stops. I know it's mind-boggling, but the higher the f-number, the smaller the opening in your lens, and the lower the f-number, the wider the opening of your lens. I know it sounds confusing at first. Just remember that higher numbers equals deep depth of field and less light are reaching your camera sensor. Lower numbers equals shallow depth of field and more light reaching your camera's sensor. To show an example, I will be photographing this organic soap with the main ingredient as props. I want to give my viewers an idea that cucumber is the main ingredient, so I will be putting it in the front and back. To make sure that the soap is the hero in this photo, I will be setting my aperture to the lowest number, which is 2.8 for this lens. Because the lens opening is wide, my photo is also a bit brighter. I will just adjust the other settings so I have a more balanced exposure. If you will notice, I am getting a shallow depth of field, meaning the background looks closer to the subject. And because of my aperture settings, the background and foreground are blurry, while the subject is in sharp focus. Observe what happens when we change the aperture settings to a higher number or smaller lens opening. Our image is getting darker, so I will be adjusting the other two settings. As you see, we are getting a deeper depth of field. Our background looks farther. Our background as well as the props are also less blurry and more in focus. Here's the two photos with different aperture settings to show you the difference. I know you still have lots of buttons on your camera that need demystifying, so I created a whole class especially for that. You can access this class plus 35,000 classes taught by amazing creators and photographers around the world, starting with a 1 month free. I added a 30 days free link in the description below. My top tip is to learn one setting at a time. I use manual mode 90% of the time, and I encourage you to really practice it. But if ever it gets overwhelming, start with the priority modes. Decide what your creative priority for the photograph is. Is it the magical blur or the freezing of time? From there, you can choose which priority mode to shoot on. Observe the settings that your camera chooses to match your setting to familiarize yourself. From here, you can slowly but surely ease into manual mode, where you set the aperture, shutter speed, and ISO yourself. Before you know it, operating your camera and shooting in manual mode is second nature to you. That is it for this video. If you have any questions or if you tried any of these tips, please comment below. If you want to request a video or any photography related tutorial, just let me know through the comment section too. That's the thing, my channel is very small, so let's take advantage of our intimate community. You can help me too by liking and subscribing, plus you'll be the first to know when I upload photography videos and tutorials. I hope you enjoyed all of that, and I hope to see you in my other videos. Bye!